Welcome to another Star Wars theory discussion. Today we're going to be talking about the clones and how they actually have been changing since Disney purchased Lucasfilm. Now, in the comics, Dark Horse comics before pre-Disney, the clones were always kind of what you'd expect from clones, especially how we saw them in the prequel trilogy, right? They were just very admirable, they were very courageous, and they were also like attack dogs. They were soldiers. They did what they were told. Now, with Disney taking over, and Dave Filoni really embellishing their characters, adding to their character arc, and making them much more interesting, we now see that they're so much more autonomous. Now, so when I was a kid, I was 15 years old when Revenge of the Sith came out, 9 years old when Episode 1 came out, 12 when Episode 2 came out. I don't know why I said it like that, but anyways, just how my brain works. When I was a kid and I was a teenager and I saw those films, at that time, the clones were extremely brainwashed. And I didn't think that really there were any, first of all, many survivors of Order 66 for Jedi. And I didn't think that there were any clones that ever really disobeyed Order 66 either. As we've progressed with Disney buying Lucasfilm, and now the stories are not under the supervision of George Lucas anymore, and now under Dave, who respects George a lot, but also is inclined to do his own thing, because now he doesn't have George so much, I don't want to say breathing down his neck, but kind of, governing his stories, right? And rightfully so. We now see that the clones are very autonomous. Some don't even execute Order 66. It just doesn't even work on some of them. Some of them don't even hear it, like Cut LaQuaine off on that planet somewhere who didn't even hear Order 66, so therefore it just doesn't even work. Then we have other characters now like Commander Cody, or even like Fives way in the beginning, who was rebelling. We have these people that are autonomous, they're rebelling against the machine, against the system, and it makes you wonder, how much are these clones really clones? They're not so much clones anymore. I think they just have the genetic makeup, but soul-wise, I think they're all entirely different. And this is what I think the Clone Wars has really helped portray, as well as now with Dave continuing their story in the Bad Batch and so on. We see that the clones really have a mind of their own, and they have free will, which is actually pretty cool to see. I didn't know how I would feel about this. As they were changing things, I was like, ooh, I don't know if I really want them to be now not executing Order 66. I kind of want them all to be sort of like Jesse, where they're just extremely brainwashed, extremely dogmatic, and they just, good soldiers follow orders. But the more I thought about it and the more it started to grow on me, I like how they're actually refuting Order 66. And as time goes on, it's almost like the inhibitor chip loses its efficacy. It loses its ability to continue to brainwash them. And for me, I'm thinking, well, if they just ride this out long enough, then are all the clones, maybe 95% of them, essentially going to be autonomous? They're going to use their own judgment. They're going to use their own free will. And this could be extremely dangerous for the Empire. Now, we haven't gotten quite to the point where they've completely wiped out all of the clones. They did destroy Kamino, but that was a cover-up. And they're still using the base. They're still using the planet for their own operations, for their cloning crap. So now that we will get Bad Batch Season 3, I'm starting to really think, like, are we going to be now getting clones that are more and more and more becoming autonomous and rebelling against the Empire? And how is this going to impact the Empire, the clone troopers, and the stormtroopers? Because now you're going to get this waging war against enlistees and the clones, who are not even comparable by any means. There was this old comic from Dark Horse where you have this very grizzled old clone, and he's looking at these new recruits who are stormtroopers during the Empire now. They're all wearing stormtrooper armor. And he's looking at them like they're literally idiots. Like, these are just kids. They're not trained. They've never really seen war. They aren't grizzled and battle-hardened and experienced like these guys. And he's just sitting there. This commander is just sitting there, and he's just like looking at them, and he's like, man, when I was your age, we were going through the real stuff. And so I think, is there going to be some sort of a war that we could see in the Bad Batch Season 3? What's going to happen with the clones? And typically, I want to get your thoughts on what you think about this whole autonomous thing, right? Because when George was in control, it was more so about the clones all kind of, flipped like a switch and executed Order 66, whereas later on, now it's either wearing off or they're just attaining some sort of self-control that they never had before. So I wonder about all this. It's interesting, and to see how the story is changing a little bit, but also progressing and adding to their character development. It's growing on me. I think I like it now, right? So that's my thoughts for today for this discussion, and I want to know what you think about it. What's going to happen with Cody? What's going to happen with, Rex even going forwards? Is he going to have to face some of his own brothers who haven't turned? Like Jesse, for example. So that's the stuff that keeps me up at night. Just 3 a.m. things. It's the time right now. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you for watching today's video, and I wish you the best. Whatever you're doing, happy holidays, and may the force be with you always.